Well, this could be the last game of the season. So with that, you could sense there was a bit of anxiety in that last game. I think, coming into the first 45 minutes, we looked a little bit timid. It looked like there was that little bit of fear, anxiety to get on the ball, and you just weren't in the same rhythm, the rhythm that we were in against Vancouver or even Chicago. So, I think we've got to take the shackles off. There's a big team coming into town, an exciting team. And for many of these players, playing in the match against Miami is a big opportunity. So we got to take it. This is the last opportunity we might get this season.
I know you're focused on your team, but what do you expect? Do you have any thoughts on what kind of lineup Miami will bring, given they've already clinched the supporters?
Well, they're all here, and I think that's exciting for our fans. I think whenever Miami are in town, you're looking to see if Suarez, Messi, Busquets, Alaba, just legends of the game are going to be on the field. For us, we faced Miami in Miami. We faced the team without the Suarez, Busquets start, and then we faced it with it starting. And whatever happens, they've got a deep squad. There are different storylines at play. Obviously, if the big guns play, they're pushing for a points record, and if the other lads are playing, and we've seen them rotate their squad in different matches. They're playing for opportunity to push their claim for a playoff spot. So they're going to be motivated, they're going to be hungry, they're in a good rhythm. But for us, we might have a bit more to play for.
How do you, assuming Lionel Messi plays, how do you go about not stopping him? I mean, if you can't do that, at least sort of limiting or mitigating his sort of influence. What's the secret to sort of containing him, if that's even possible?
Well, I think the first thing is you have to be brave on the ball. You've got to try and control elements of the game where you limit his opportunities through what you're doing, and I think that's really important. That against Miami, if Messi's playing, they have a really aggressive first line pressure, and if you can play past that first line, then you can. I wouldn't say dominate the ball against them, but you can find that opposite rhythm. So I think what we do with the ball is going to be really important. And I think the second part is then the transitional moment. Knowing that one-man cover isn't gonna work, you've got to ensure that there's 2-3 players close enough in proximity. So on one hand, you want to commit numbers to win the game, but on the other hand, that risk is very high. So that's something we'll be certainly paying attention to. And then finally, it's if you can press them. I think that's got to be important as well. It's about being able to get good pressure higher up the pitch to force direct play and take them out of that sort of beautiful rhythm they can find with Busquets, who can just control a game.
From the portion of training that we could see, Petretta and Insigne were working out with a trainer.
Yeah.
What's their status and what's your general health up?
Yeah, a couple of things. So Long, unfortunately, went out with a concussion, so he's in protocol at the moment. So we'll be missing Longy for the match. It's a big loss. He's actually really stepped up during this period of time. Raul's been struggling with a bit of a hip issue. So he's just literally been surviving through the games and getting through what he can. And we may be able to bring him in for minutes tomorrow. We may be able to start him. We've just got to see how much pain he's in the morning when he wakes up. And then Corsi Thompson, unfortunately, picked up an injury to his knee. We're still going through the assessments. The doctors are actually checking him out again today. He'll be unavailable.
How do you deal with, obviously, you mentioned some of those players. There's a mystique about them. How do you deal with your young players as a head coach, making sure they're playing the players that are playing tomorrow and not the guys they watched playing in the championship 10 years ago?
Well, for me, it's no different as a coach. There's that mystique of Messi, Suarez, and Busquets, and you've got to bring it back to we have to win this match. That's it. Like, we got to look past the pink uniform. We've got to look past the Beckham. We've got to look past all of the glitz and glamour of this team and bring it right down to our men have got to show up for 90-plus minutes. You give this team, with their quality, you give them an inch, they're going to take a country mile. And, it starts with that, Paul. We have to show up in a way that we want it more than them. We're ready to fight. We're ready to lay a glove on them. That's going to be important. They've got to feel the physicality. The pitch is a bit rough. We've got to use that to our advantage and make them feel uncomfortable in this environment, and just hope the fans get behind us and don't make them feel too comfortable when Messi gets on the ball. But, yeah, we got to win this match. And, I think that mystique, I would hope, just dissipates the second that whistle kicks off. But I mean, it's pretty obvious when you see a player like Messi in and around the field. I can imagine it's pretty easy to get starry-eyed.
John, sort of going back to the injury, is Lorenzo still questionable? Do you expect him to play any sort of role tomorrow?
If he plays a role, it'll be minor. Like he's got calf strains in both calves, so. Coming out of the Vancouver game, there's a reason he came out. Not being able to get into the Chicago game till the last few minutes, there's a reason for that. So, he's carrying a 2A in one calf and a 1B in the other. So, I mean, he's pushing. I would never question his desire to play for this club. He's always, the first to pull his shirt on, but at this stage, it'll be one of them. It'll be a roll of the dice, and if you put him on, you might have to bring him out after 2-3 minutes. So it's one of those high-risk moments. We thought we had to do it in Chicago, and we may have to do it again.
You'll pardon my ignorance because I don't know much about the injury, so it sounds like it's not something that he could sort of play through. No.
He's... he had his MRIs, and as I say, it's 2A in one calf and 1B in the other. So some of this is just, it's been wear and tear over a 2-3 year period. But he's in pain. Like he just can't do the things that you need him to do. So again, if we need a Hail Mary pass, we may have to put him in, but it comes with a lot of risk.
Long finished out the game. Did he not present still?
No, he had a headache when he went to bed. It sort of woke up. He called the doctors during the night and came in, reassessed him. They cleared up the next morning, and then presented a headache the next day as well. So unfortunately, the adrenaline tends to push guys through those moments, and unfortunately. It's a tough one. He's a guy who he'll play through anything, Longy, and the doctors are making the right decision by holding him back.
Did you or anybody else at the club have words with Bernardeschi after what happened?
Yeah, absolutely. It's Fede has been a real rock for the club. In terms of his contributions. He puts a shift in, but he's a passionate guy as well, and it's been a challenge for him. He gets emotional, and it's because he cares, and sometimes that emotion gets beyond him. But at the same time, we're where we're at for a lot of reasons, and he'd be one of them. We're still in that playoff fight. The work he put in a period of time. But it has been addressed. It was raised, and he's accepted some responsibility for that. And he knows if we get through this weekend and into the playoffs, he knows some things have got to change.
You've got, I think, 13 players whose contracts run out at the end of this year. Of course, there are club options. I guess it's the same every week, but our job's on the line this weekend.
I think for all of us, we've just got to focus on this game and, not even put that fear into the players. I've tried to avoid, that sort of threat lever. I think, given the team hasn't been in this sort of privileged position where they've put the work in to be fighting for something every week for a while. And you can see the pressure's there. For some guys, there's already enough pressure. For others, there's other levers you're pulling, which is just about the purpose, the reason why we took this journey this year, what it means to the fans. I think, I've certainly avoided trying to pull those levers. That's up to, Jason Hernandez, who's got a lot of work. He knows that in the off season to help turn the club around, and we've certainly done the best with what we've got. And times, our best hasn't been good enough. That's been clear. It wasn't good enough the other night. That's on and off the pitch. The work that we've done as a staff hasn't been good enough with the players at times, and the players just haven't showed up enough. But we're still in the fight. By hook or crook, we'll be given everything this weekend, Neil, to do something, to get a result for this fan base, for the club. And who knows? Stranger things have happened.
Messi's standing within the game of football as an icon is obviously without reproach. But we've seen over the years that there's been squabbles amongst players to get a shirt. People have asked him a half. As a head coach with so much on the game tomorrow, do you say anything to players to say, listen, you can't do one, you got to focus on the game?
I haven't thought about it. I mean, you're bringing something in. I think the lads are just they're so pissed about the result from Wednesday. There's an anger, there's an embarrassment, there's a hurt, there's a regret. But then there's this, today, you can smell that the team are sensing the opportunity again. So I'm sure as soon as the whistle blows, if it's gone well for us, someone will be they'll be chasing for that shirt. If it hasn't gone well for us, I think we'd be embarrassed to go and look for a shirt. I think the guys will want that ground to swallow us up, and we'll be apologising to our fans again. That's what I'd hope to see.
John, what went through your mind when you saw Oso go over to the fans afterwards and take it on the chin from them?
I mean, he's done that before. What I've seen from Jonathan in the last 4 months is him starting to really embrace the captain's role and embrace what it's going to take to turn this club around. He's been a lot more vocal in the dressing room, driving standards. He's starting to become that captain that this club's going to need, and it's exciting to see. It takes a while to find yourself as a captain. He's captained teams before, but it takes time. You've got to go through moments. You've got to sense what's right, what's wrong, how to work with players. But this last 3 weeks, he's been spot on. So to see him, stand in front of the fans and listen, I think that was super important. He was there in the Chicago game as well. I thought all the players were brilliant going to address the fans in Chicago, because again, I thought we let them down in that last 5-6 minutes. Our fans have been great, Neil. It was the same, I think, 50 guys in Chicago that were there addressing the players, and we do our best. I mean, I know they see it at times it's not good enough, but there's a core of players, I'm telling you, and staff that are just giving everything. We are giving everything, and sometimes we come up short, and sometimes it looks like we're not trying. But as I say, with that first 45 minutes against New York, it was more an anxiety thing. You could feel the pressure was caging us. It wasn't until half time we felt we could just open the cage up a bit with the lads. So hopefully we're a bit freer this weekend, and the fans can see our full effort and see what this means to us.
John, you're clearly focused on tomorrow, but beyond that, do you have a sense of what the next 2 weeks would look like either way? Should you be eliminated from playoffs, or if you're still all that after Saturday?
Well, I've got that scheduling to do this afternoon, and I've been putting it off. I've been putting it off with Robin Gale every day. She's been asking us, and I just want to put my attention on tomorrow. Tomorrow is everything to us. That's it.
Did you learn much from watching the Columbus Columbus is the way Columbus is went to, and obviously you were preoccupied on the day, but I'm sure.
Yeah. No, I mean, we watched Columbus. I mean, Columbus in Columbus, they played with a 5-3-2, and you know, Tata adapted to a 5-3-2. It's timed a few times in the season. You've seen him go with a back five. I mean, he gave Columbus a lot of respect, which I think you've got to do. But I mean, when you've got Cucho, Rossi, Nagbe in that sort of rhythm, you know, it's difficult to take what you want to take. But what you can say is that, you know, Messi and Suarez, if they play together, you give them, you know, that transitional moment, that half a chance, they're going to take it. So what you know in games against Miami, you have to score. You have to score. They have the best goal-scoring record in the league. We scored 3 goals, I think, against them recently. So, you know, in time we've played, we've shown we can score, or 2 goals. But they scored 4, and that's the reality with them. Even I think the 2 games we played, we had good possession. First game we kept them to like their lowest XG of the season. They had 1 shot before half time, and as soon as you feel like you're getting a good foothold and comfort, just the 3 passes with 3 players with high quality, and you're dead. So we have to score. We have to score. And I hate saying we have to, because when you say you have to, it puts players back in the cage. But, you know, I'm not saying we have to score a world-class goal. We've got to pick up a second phase. We've got to follow in on goalkeeper spills. We've got to do what we did in the corners and hope, you know, the linesman doesn't flag it offside. We've got to get all those little shitty things in the game right, and hopefully take all of those chances, as well as maybe an Azario showing up with a worldie, or a Etienne with a worldie that we've been waiting for.
Even Suarez showed, like, you switch off for 2 seconds. Columbus got back in the game. Long ball.
It's unreal, eh?
Yeah,
it is. I mean, that's the quality. Even Messi's goal, like, you know, you look at Columbus, they could have been 2 goals up prior, and that's it. You just don't take your chances against them. You know, within a second, like Messi, what was it, 3 players? He was able to skip around, and the ball's in the back of the net. So I don't know if those guys will start. But even knowing they're coming off the bench, you just know for 90 plus minutes, this is going to have to be arguably our best performance of the season.